Alrighty then. So moving on to our final topic, we're talking another 5 of my top 100 films of all time. So again, like before every one of these topics, I'm gonna give a couple of disclaimers. This is my list, my opinion. All these films have my stamp of approval, the Mikey's Movie Magic. Obviously, I mean they're the top 100 films of all time, in my opinion. So yeah, just everyone, just calm down if you don't see one of your favorite films in here. It's my list. I don't really care what you think. I mean, I do care what you think. It's always fun to debate, film with people, but this is my opinion. Also, opinions change, and I feel like, I've even thought of a couple films that it's like, oh man, I probably should have put that in my top 100 a little bit at the top, but where we're at now, we're scratching the top 30 now. I feel like the top 50 is pretty much unchangeable. Maybe shift a couple of films around. Maybe in another couple years, I'll redo this list a little bit, like an updated list. But for now, my list is going to stay the same. So, and I'm also not going to get an in-depth review on every single one of these films. I'm just going to go over them briefly and tell you why I like them so much. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we left on number 31 last episode. So, we're on number 30 now, and number 30, the number 30 spot goes to The Breakfast Club. That's right, the classic Breakfast Club. I think it came out in 1983 or 84, I believe. It's an 80s film, so it's a very nostalgic feeling film. I remember watching this as a kid for the first time. Weirdly, my sister would watch it all the time, and I would usually watch it with her, so maybe that's why I like this film so much. It just kind of reminds me of when I would watch this with my sister sometimes. But it's also just a really great, entertaining film. It has a great message, and it has just a great feel to it. And I feel like it leaves you in a really great place, emotionally and mentally. I really like this film. I mean, it's kind of a classic. It's a classic 80s movie, so it has great music. I mean, Emilio Estevez is in it. I mean, come on now. What's her face is in it. God damn it, Molly Ringwald. I had a huge crush on Molly Ringwald when I was kind of a kid. I mean, obviously she's a lot older than me, but in those movies, in The Breakfast Club, I always kind of had a crush on her. But yeah, I mean, Emilio Estevez is the shit. I mean, come on now. Anthony Michael Hall too. He's great in this film. I loved him. He's one of my favorite characters. He's my favorite character in the film. But yeah, I mean, funny movie. Just a good time. So yeah. The Breakfast Club, number 30. So moving on to number 29, I'm just kind of realizing how many heavy hitters we're getting into now. We're getting so low on the list. We're getting some really awesome movies, but number 29 is my second favorite Pixar film of all time, and it's just an amazing hero film. We got the first Incredibles movie. This film honestly was kind of my favorite Pixar movie for a while, and then I'm just I rewatch another film that we're going to be talking about in this episode, and I'm like, no, that one's it's just better. But The Incredibles is still, I think, just hands down. If someone would say this is the best Pixar movie, I'm not going to argue with you. And we all know how great Pixar is, so that statement holds a lot of weight, It's just, this movie is just awesome. The action's incredible. The characters are great. The villain is so awesome. Syndrome is the shit. I mean, I love everything about The Incredibles. It's just so good. Moving on to number 28, another classic, another 80s classic. I mean, we're talking absolute classic. We're talking the very first Ghostbusters movie. I mean, I can't, do I really need to say anything about the first Ghostbusters movie? I mean, it's just so good. I mean, Dan Aykroyd, fucking Bill Murray, Harold Ramis. I mean, Sigourney Weaver is in it too. I mean, Rick Moranis. I mean, bro, so good, so funny, so original too. I think Eddie Murphy was supposed to play, the fourth Ghostbuster, but I think I don't know, I forget what the reason was he turned it down. Maybe he just wanted too much money, but that kind of stinks. I mean, the potential there is pretty high, but I think the guy they got in place for him, I'm blanking on the actor's name. Let me see if I can find Ernie Hudson as Winston. He's really great. But yeah, I mean, I mean, this movie is great. Is this true? Yes, sir. This man has no dick. Like, I mean, come on. They're like iconic lines. If Dickless here didn't turn the switch. So good. So clever. The writing's great. I mean, the delivery by Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are just amazing. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I mean, come on. You can't get more classic than the first Ghostbusters movie. I'm sorry. So number 27, we have I think, even more of a classic film and a more influential film. We got the first Jurassic Park movie. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Like, I mean, come on. Like, that scene where you first see the dinosaur and John Williams' score. I mean, again, like, I don't have to say anything to, like, justify this spot. I mean, it's Jurassic fucking Park. Like, if both this movie and Ghostbusters are not in your top 100 list, like, there's something wrong with your opinion, I feel like. Like, come on now. These are just classic films. I mean, I still remember, like, around the time that I first saw them, like, and there's a reason for that, because they're just so good. I mean, I think both of these films have the potential to rise in my list more than the other three films that I'm going to be talking about today. So with the final film, honestly, kind of series of films, I couldn't really choose one, so I just kind of put the first one in here. Number 26, my favorite Pixar film of all time. We got the Toy Story. The first Toy Story movie. I mean, I feel like any of the Toy Story films can go here. I mean, they're all pretty great. But I mean, I just still think the first one's the best one. I mean, the second one's great. I mean, the third one's amazing. I mean, shit, even the fourth one's really good. So, I mean, like, honestly, any of them can really go here. They're all just so good. I mean, just so... I don't know, man. I remember watching this, and I'm just like, oh, man, I think my toys are alive, and I would always, like, treat my toys, like, with respect and shit, and it was always a really fun... I mean, it brings you back to, like, being a kid every time you come back and watch it, and just, like, I don't know, like, these films... It kind of gets you in the feels, especially the third one really does. And the fourth one, too. I mean, it's just the first one is just so iconic. I had to put the first one in here. I mean, fucking Sid. I mean, come on now. Like, so good. I love the Toy Story films. And I feel like, yeah, this one could rise, too. So, I don't know what I'm really talking about. But, yeah, Toy Story is number 26. And we're going to be getting to the next top 25 here, guys. We're kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty. Man, I'm kind of pumped to, like, reveal my top 10 a little bit. I'm actually really excited. I might do, like, a whole episode dedicated to my top 10 and just review all 10 of them. You know, comment, I guess, if you want that. I mean, if anyone is actually watching this or listening, message me on Twitter. I don't know. But yeah, so those are my next 5. That's 30 through 26 of my top 100 films of all time. Hello there. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, this is Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'm your host, Michael. What do I talk about, you say? Well, I talk about anything nerdy. So that's movies, video games, TV shows, comic books every once in a while. Books, maybe not, I don't know. Anything that I feel like talking about. I'm a huge nerd. I hope you're a huge nerd, and I hope we can enjoy our nerdiness together here. This is a full audio podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the major podcast platforms. So consider going over to those and checking out the full version of the episode. And other past episodes, please leave me a review and subscribe on those platforms. If you don't want to do that, clipped, shorter versions of those full episodes will be posted here on YouTube. So consider subscribing and liking the videos for more to support me and future content that I will be producing in the future on nerdy stuff. So yeah, thank you, and see you on the next one.